What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Got a nice little competitive duel for you guys to check out. This happened on my live stream on Saturday night. It's a competitive duel, 2 out of 3 against Pendulums. Everybody was saying Pendulums 15 negates, automatically the best deck of the format. And I said to one of the members of my stream, shut up and prove it if you think it's so good. I mean, I wasn't saying Pendulums were terrible. I don't think that they're the best deck by default moving into the next format. I think that there are multiple problems with the Pendulum deck. The biggest one being that I feel like if you're going second, the deck really doesn't have any kind, like it doesn't really have any way of stopping the opponent. It just has to kind of hope that they don't pop off to the ceiling. And I don't know, I feel like there are other problems people just kind of ignore because they see that it has the highest ceiling in Yu-Gi-Oh, which it probably does, but that doesn't defaultly make it the best deck. Salamangreats didn't have a super high ceiling and they were just tearing it up in the TCG. Anyways, I'm playing a deck that I've been enjoying over the past couple of streams. I'm trying to get it to be as competitive as possible. I'm doing a whole bunch of testing with it, and that is actually Cyframes. I did open up with 2 copies of Cyburst Gadget. This is a card where you don't want 2 copies of it. It is a nice combo card, and it is, even by itself, without anything in the graveyard, it is a 1-card Lambda, which is kind of nice. Plus, you get the potentially, like, fix your hand, which is kind of cool. So we're going to normal summon it. We're going to get our Link Disciple. Then it's going to give us a token because it went to the graveyard. This card is way better if you have one of your level 1 Cyframes, like Beta or Alpha in the graveyard, or if you discard one of those for Signet Mining to search this card, because then if your opponent ashes you, you can like gamma them, and also you end up with a combo where you can make like Formula Synchron and stuff like that. You get to draw 2 cards, really nice. But anyways, we're gonna go for Link Devotee using the token we just got. Then we're going to activate the effect. We're going to tribute our Link Devotee. We're going to draw a card, put back 1, so it's kind of like a mini Saryuja. We don't want multiple copies of Cyburst Gadget, so I'd much rather have a Delta knowing that I'm playing against Pendulum Edition, so that's kind of nice. Also, we get 2 tokens because this card went to the graveyard, so that's pretty good as well. Generally, you're going to take one of those tokens, you're going to turn it into Link Karibo. Now we have 2 monsters, neither one of them are tokens, and now we can make Lambda. Plus, during your opponent's turn, you can easily tribute this token to summon like your Link Karibo from the grave. I think you can do that, right? I don't think that's I'm pretty sure that that's legal, although I think I could do it like during this turn too. Not exactly sure why I didn't do that. Regardless, we're just going to summon Lambda, and then we're just going to pass it back to our opponent. Obviously playing Pendulums, and you know, everyone says Pendulums can play through disruptions easily, so I was like, prove it. You think that it's that easy to just play through an entire, or you know, play through an established board? And this is Cyframes. This isn't even some higher tier deck. It's just a deck that I'm like really having a lot of fun with. Anyways, the Serving Them Endymion is going to be the first card summoned, obviously one of the best cards in the deck, or not summoned but placed in the Pendulum scale. Then he's going to activate the search card. Pegasus is going to get a search here plus a counter. I thought about maybe using Delta on that, but I thought that it was a little too early. I was like, well, you got to show me that you're going to get 3 counters on this. Like, I wanted Pegasus to prove that they actually had 3 spells to trigger this. Plus, I had Ash Blossom anyway, so I felt pretty good about that. Even if Card by the Grave was used, I could, you know, hypothetically chain the Delta, but I don't think that like most players don't play Card by the Grave and Pendulums. Anyways, so we're gonna get a counter there. Upstart's going to be used. At this point, I did think, all right, I don't want the I don't want the 3rd counter getting on it that easily. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to use my copy of Delta. The reason that I like Delta here is because not only does Delta 1-for-1 with the Upstart Goblin, but then I get to summon an Omega and take another card out of my opponent's hand. So that's really good because it's like, all right, I'm getting kind of a +1 there, and in addition to that, it's technically a +2 because Lambda will activate, and whether or not Lambda stays on the field is irrelevant. I'm getting a search during the end phase, period, point blank. So that was just awesome. Basically, this is kind of like a +2 play. So we're going to get our negation on, then we're going to go for Omega. We're obviously going to activate Omega immediately. Unfortunately, we are going to hit Destrudo. I'm going to activate Lambda's effect at the same time. I would have preferred to hit a spell card. I don't really care about Destrudo all that much. I believe another Pendulum scale, looks like Chronograph, is going to be activated. That gives Pegasus the 3 counters on the Endymion that they need to just go ahead and activate the effect. At this point, I'm like, I don't think that you play Card by the Grave or anything that's like relevant, so I'm just going going to go ahead and Ash Blossom it. And at that point, I felt good about my position because I was like, well, what are you going to do with 2 cards and 2 scales? You're going to Pendulum Summon and attack. You're going to Pendulum Summon and go into Electromite. Okay, that doesn't do anything. You get the draw, but then you have Electromite pass. You can't Pendulum Summon again. So no matter what Pegasus had in their hand, I felt pretty confident about my position, let alone that I was getting a Surge from Lambda and I was getting my Omega back during my turn. I felt really good about my position. And if Pegasus tried to attack, I've got the beta right here. So let's go ahead and speed it up. Anyways, we got a Pendulum Summon of 2. The Mighty Master of Magic is going to attack. That was pretty much exactly what I wanted, because now we can just go ahead, we can activate the copy of Beta in our hand. That's going to destroy the Mighty Master. Also, it means that we're going to be able to Synchro Summon for a level 7 monster, and that monster, of course, will probably be Zeta, because Zeta can just banish the copy of the Endymion that's on the field. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go ahead and, well, Pegasus scooped it up because they knew that with the Zeta coming out that would banish the Endymion, you weren't going to really have any plays. But you guys can look at that and say, Kappa G, that don't prove nothing. You went first, even though, again, everybody tells me Pendulum's supposed to be able to go second now, which I just prove it to me. I don't really believe it. Anyways, now we have a duel. Second game, which is pretty much going to start like the first one. Servadem Endymion is going to be activated first. I guess you want to activate this first because then you activate spells, get your spell counters. I've said before, I believe that if Pendulums go first, especially, and they don't open up with Dark Worm, I think their plays are incredibly mediocre. This means when your opponent goes for Foolish Burial, Dragon Shrine, or Dragon Ravine, if you have Ash Blossom, go ahead and use it because you do not want them getting Dark Worm. Dark Worm puts a body on board and it gives them a scale search, and usually they'll get to Electromite, they'll get all their combos off. It's also a guard dragon, tutor, so I just felt like that was the right play there. I knew I would not have Ash Blossom for this, but I just felt like using Ash Blossom for the Dragon Shrine was more important because the Dragon Shrine just does so much. Well, not even Dragon Shrine, just Dark Worm does so much for them. That's why Dark Worm is at 1 in the OCG. Now, Into the Void is a card that I think Triff actually uses in his build as well. It's interesting because when Into the Void was played, I was like, well, this pretty much means you have to pop off, right? Otherwise, you're not going to have a hand. And luckily, I got Gamma in my hand, so I was just waiting for Electromite to be summoned. The second Electromite is summoned and activates its effect, you know I'm going to obviously Gamma it. So we've got the Destrudo hitting the graveyard. Now we've got a couple of scales that are going to be searched. Looks like Black Fang, and then also Oath Dragon, and I believe we're going to get, I don't know if it's going to be, okay, so it looks like Servant's going to be played. Okay, so it seems like Pegasus wants to get Electromite on board without actually using the Pendulum Summon, because obviously you want a Pendulum Summon after you've used the Electromite so that you get the full value out of the card. I was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. Mighty Master is going to hit the field as well. The normal summon might be committed so that it'll give you the 2 monsters on board while still being able to keep Mighty Master, but I'm perfectly fine with that. So looks like Black Fang is going to be used for the normal summon, and then the Electromite's going to be used or activated. Its effect's going to activate. I told you guys it's the second that Electromite was activated, I was going to Gamma it, so we're just going to get rid of that card. Once this happened again, I felt good about my position because now you have 2 cards in your hand. What are you going to do with that? Pendulum Summon like 1 monster and then pass? Like, these are not plays that scare anybody. And, you know, if you don't have the perfect scales, then I guess you have to just put them on the board, but you don't want to lock your board. And keep in mind that Into the Void is still in effect. So if you don't play these cards, you're just going to lose them in the end phase. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to summon my Gamma. I'm going to summon my Driver. I think that's, yeah, it looks like Oath Dragon is played, and then Jackal's just going to go to the graveyard. So I was perfectly fine having my cards banished because I have Psychic Field Zone I have Psychic Field Zone in my hand, and I know that that's obviously a pretty strong card. It can take my 2 banished monsters and then let me summon them. I was running 3 of this card in my build. I think I'm probably going to cut down to like 1 copy because sometimes when you're going first, it's like a super brick. This was the perfect draw right here, the copy of Gamma, because now when the Mighty Sorcerer activates, probably trying to negate my Psychic Field Zone, we can just Gamma that shit, and then it's basically GG no re. So we're gonna activate Psychic Field Zone. This was actually bait. You guys can see I didn't really have any live plays, but unfortunately Pegasus took the bait, and then we're just gonna go ahead and gamma. Now I did basically say GG, and I believe that the game is essentially over. I kind of trolled here. For some reason I totally had a brain fart, and I totally forgot that Psychic Field Zone makes you synchro summon immediately using the two monsters. But you can see it's basically a scoop phase. Pegasus drew another card, just seeing what's on the top of their hand, and you can see that that is actually a GG no re. Pegasus wanted a rematch, but I was like, why should I give you a rematch when I just 2-0'd you in a fashion that was quite easy? I mean, I don't really think that those games were all that close. Even if I did have to even if I was forced to go into the play right there, I could have still made Lambda plus Omega in that turn, and then I would have been sitting pretty because I would have had you know, my two best monsters on field. And if Pegasus tried anything, I would have been in a position where I could still Omega, get a search off of Lambda, and then still been in like a pretty commanding position. Plus Pegasus didn't even have full scale, so if you didn't draw a scale, I feel like it was just going to be a wrap anyways. Even if Pegasus did draw a scale, what was that going to do? Because you were just going to pin one pass, like that wasn't really going to do anything. But that was just a quick duel, even though the second duel I kind of brain farted on the Psychic Field Zone. If Pendulums can't beat Psyframes, guys, how exactly are they the best deck? Somebody need to explain that to me. But obviously this was all just for shits and giggles. It was just me having a little bit of fun on my live stream. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the duel. If you did, give a video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.